Little House on the Prairie won't be seen tonight, so we can bring you a very special episode of The Gen X Files. Welcome to The Gen X Files. I'm Jim.
I'm Adam.
And today's show is another
For the Stepdads.
Oh, you're aging old stepdads.
Pull out your Kleenex and get your stepdads ready.
It was my birthday last week, and for my birthday, I got a cold.
Yeah. Jim hit it a little too hard.
Yeah. I went to, yes. I went to Texas for my birthday to visit with my family, my mom and stepdad, my sister and brother-in-law. And this hacking child on the flight over, I think.
Oh, on the flight there.
Gave me a plague.
Yeah, you know it's law, Texas law, that if you visit Texas, you have to get sick.
Apparently, I don't know if it's psychosomatic or what, because I never get sick, ever.
Yeah.
But
me either. Still haven't tested positive for COVID.
Something happens in Texas. Maybe it's just,
Well, at least you didn't come back with measles.
Not yet. We don't know. There's
That's
an
true,
incubation
actually.
period.
That's true.
I'm vaccinated.
Which, by the way, weird thing. I found out that between 1968 and 1989, I think, rather than doing the 2 shots for the MMR, they only did 1 because they were like, it's fine. It's fine. We don't need 2 because it's essentially eradicated. So if you're listening right now and you're of our age, go get a second booster.
Yeah.
I still need to, but I do not want to get measles.
No, nobody wants to get measles.
Well.
And people are saying, oh, they used to have measles. And no, they never had measles parties. They had chicken pox parties where they put kids to get the pox, but never measles.
No, because measles will kill you. Anyway.
Good Lord.
Anyway, go get your shots.
Anyway, anywho. So it was my birthday last week, which was really bittersweet because birthdays are just kind of crap now because it's just getting older.
Yeah.
There's really nothing to look forward to, but except death. But I had a great time. Adam got me this amazing book. If you listen to our Buckaroo Banzai episode, you'll know that there was a sequel book written by the actual screenwriter.
Yeah, I want to say, I think it came out 2021, maybe?
Or
2022,
I think it was like 2019 and then revisited at 2022. Okay. Whole thing going on. But it's very good. I started reading it. I really like it. It's smart. It's funny. Very much like the movie. It's got that vibe, and it's kind of a direct sequel. It pretty much starts right after everybody's walking in the...
Right, they're walking through the LA River, and then it picks right up.
No, but it's I'm enjoying it very much. And like I said, I went to Texas, got to spend some time with the family.
That's good.
Played a lot of Mexican Train and Farkle.
Nice. A lot of Farkle.
Daryl, very good at Mexican Train. Daryl and my mother.
No, really?
That is, you play that, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's a marathon, man, because...
Yeah, it takes forever.
You gotta... Not only do you play a round, it's like dominoes, but you gotta play like 13 rounds, because you gotta go from 11 to 0.
You gotta go all the way down.
Or 12 to 0.
12 to 0, yeah.
And so that's half a day. Like, we started, had lunch, and then came back to it.
But the nice thing about it is that because it is segmented that way, it's easy to stop and then restart.
Right. But not for us.
No,
we're a competitive family.
Push through.
Now, we had a good time. I was I believe I was the Farkle champion, which I usually am.
Nice.
Professional Farkle player. Farklist.
I'd never win at Farkle.
Well, it's all based on luck. I mean, there's really no skill to Farkle.
I would say it's probably like 80-20. Because there's definitely a little bit of strategy.
A little bit.
But very minuscule.
But with like Mexican Train, you got to think a few steps ahead.
Yeah,
and you got to strategize.
Oh, no, it's definitely Mexican Train is like 80-20 the other way.
Well, listen to our sister podcast. Super old games and super old people play.
Old games for old men.
But I had a blast. We had good food. And it's always amazing to see my little fam. It's just my sister and I and my mom and their families. And so... Especially for me, it's really great to reconnect.
Yeah.
With my loved ones, and they made my birthday excellent, as did you, for giving me a ride to the airport and giving me a book.
You're welcome. Happy birthday.
Thank you. So that's that.
All right.
End of show.
All right.
No, but
thanks for listening.
But because it was my birthday month, I picked the Steve's Hot Carl.
Yeah. Steve Martin and Carl Reiner.
As the topic, because I love those two. And if you've listened to this month, you know that their partnership is one of my all-time favorite partnerships of all time. They're kind of my Scorsese, De Niro of comedy.
Yeah.
I think they don't get the due that they deserve.
I agree.
For making such amazing, groundbreaking, unique, and hilarious comedies.
Yeah. I don't think Carl Reiner gets the due he's deserved as an amazing director. Like, he's a really good director. And a lot of times I was talking to a guy last night.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, I love The Man with Two Brains, and didn't realize that Carl Reiner directed it.
And in the hands of a lesser director, it would just be goof or spoof.
It would have no heart.
And that's the thing, is the two of them made sure that there was heart and an incredible performance by Steve Martin that grounds each of those films. Without him, they would, again, just be, goofy.
They would be popcorn movies. They would have no purpose.
But he really, his incredible acting chops, and that's the one thing that I really learned this month was, a lot of times comedic performances don't get the due that they should.
Yeah.
Because people are like, oh, it's stupid and funny. But I will tell you that All of Me performance deserved an Academy Award nomination.
Oh, he was so good. He was so good.
Good.
Amazing physical comedy.
And nobody acts opposite himself with more earnestness and truth than him when whether, like we said, he's acting against a jar, or a PA, or himself. Yeah, you believe that he's talking to another person.
Yeah, Steve Martin is one of our most underrated actors. Like, he is so good. It's just, he started his career as a juggler, so it's like people don't take him seriously.
He was a wild and crazy guy.
Yeah.
But he's overcome so much, and more than any other of my entertainment heroes, I suppose, he's redefined himself so many different times in so many different ways.
Yeah.
And he's not only mastered stand-up and dominated the comedy films in the 70s and 80s, but an acclaimed playwright and author.
And he was a master of family films in the 90s. Yeah. Like, there were so many good family movies that he was in where he was a little older and he was kind of, like, okay, I'm not going to be as wild and crazy, but, God, he was so good in these movies. Very
reliable in terms of I kind of call them factory comedies.
Yeah.
Because the studio kind of churns them out.
Sure,
it's like,
sure.
They spin a wheel. It's like Steve Martin and Queen Latifah are real estate brokers.
They have 14 children.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But whatever they spun him into, he was brilliant.
He was always great. Yeah, he was always solid.
Even if the film wasn't, he was solid.
Was a lot.
But again, the Nancy Meyers movies too. Yeah. The one with he and Alec Baldwin and Meryl Streep. I forget the name of it. They all had like things are going to get better or bumping up the road.
Oh, yeah.
They all had these very generic titles, but
bumping up the road.
But that movie, he was great. He was like playing an architect or whatever.
I don't remember what that is, but I know what you're talking about.
It was Meryl Streep and Alec Baldwin.
More adult, comedy, romantic comedy, drama, whatever.
The Nancy Meyers movies were for 45 to 65-year-old women.
They were the CBS crowd before CBS. Yeah,
it was like mainstream Hallmark movies, but just a touch more.
Just a little better. Yeah.
But it's always great to revisit things that you loved as a child and not be disappointed.
Yes, so much so.
We're finding more and more that does happen. Luckily, it happens rarely. I mean, we've done 200 and some odd shows, and I can count on my one hand how many disappointments we've had.
Didn't come through.
And they're not even like, devastating disappointments. It's just kind of like, it was good.
I have some bad news for you. Next month, going to be disappointed with all of them.
I don't know. I'm curious because I loved those movies as a teenager.
I know, I did too. I think that they're going to be a little problematic. But anyway, it'll be fun.
Well, next month we're doing McNerdy month.
Yeah.
For Adam's birthday month.
Yeah. I was extremely obsessed with Can't Buy Me Love when I was young. And a lot of it was because it took place in Tucson, and I had family in Tucson, so I'd been there, and I was like, oh my God, because nobody was ever setting anything in Iowa.
Yeah.
Nobody cares about Iowa. But I was obsessed with that movie, and it is a little problematic, which at the time, they thought so too. But then Loverboy, which is also just a weird, bad movie.
Yeah.
But then the one, and I was talking about this last night. I was out at a friend's birthday, and nobody has heard of Run.
Yeah.
Nobody. And I was like, it's the best of the three. It's
We'll
so
see.
good. I was obsessed with that movie.
Now, Can't Buy Me Love, is that the one with he's the pizza boy?
No, that's Loverboy.
Loverboy.
That's
yeah,
Loverboy.
Loverboy. Can't Buy Me Love is
Can't
the
Be Love, he essentially buys a girlfriend.
Right, because
Yeah.
she ruins her mom's leather white skirt, dress, jacket.
No, suede. It's a suede
Suede
coat.
jacket.
Suede jacket. But here's the funny thing, and they actually, the April month and the March month, the Steve's Hot Carl and McNerdy actually are connected in the fact that Patrick Dempsey started his career as a juggler.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that next week.
I like Patrick Dempsey.
He won second place in an international juggling competition.
Weird.
I know.
Weird. It's also
McNerdy.
He was just like a couple of years ago the sexiest man alive.
2023. Yeah.
It's just bizarre to me. It's come
very
on, man.
bizarre. Yeah. Anyway,
It's all stupid.
It'll be fun to talk about. I can already see you hating next month.
No. Because honestly, I was a huge fan of those comedies.
Yeah.
And him. And he was just on that Dexter Rebirth show.
Oh yeah.
And he was great.
Yeah.
He was
He's
great.
still good. Yeah.
It's really fun to see he and Christian Slade are playing old men, back when they were just
Right.
they were the young heartthrobs,
they
and now
were,
they're
yeah.
old heartthrobs. Although McDreamy's age a little bit better than,
Oh yeah.
but he still looks great too, and that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I'm getting. I want to have a career as an actor now,
Yeah.
because I want to represent the true aging middle-aged man.
Right.
Not the Hugh Jackman or these perfectly chiseled.
Sure.
They need a guy that's got
Okay. Can I say something?
Yeah.
You still look better than like 99% of the people out there that are your age. So like, I don't know if you're truly the paragon of what real men look like.
Well, that's very nice.
I'm
of you.
just saying.
That's very nice of you.
Yeah.
But I mean, I get it, but I still have a little
You're still,
paunch.
yeah.
and-
You're still growing. You're still growing.
Still growing into my belly. No,
No,
but
I understand what you mean.
I'm aging, I believe, gracefully.
Sure,
I'm not dyeing
sure.
my hair or getting fillers or Ozempic or
Yeah.
hitting HGH or any sort of supplements.
Right.
I mildly exercise and walk occasionally.
Well, in Patrick Dempsey's defense, I mean, he's still racing cars, so
Sure.
like he has to be in an insane shape to be doing that stuff. So like I'm sure he's got an insane regimen that he has to follow.
And they all get paid millions of dollars
Yeah.
to go to the gym.
I saw the greatest meme with the guy from It's Always Sunny.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Because he gained all that weight for that one season, and then he came back the next season and was chiseled, and he was like, "Look, all you got to do
It's so easy.
Is you got to get paid a lot of money. You got to hire the guy that taught everybody Magic Mike. You got to eat nothing. I mean, literally nothing for like a year, and it's so easy."
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, even in my 30s when I had to get in really good shape, it's tough. And when you do it the real way and you don't have any supplements and it's just
And you're
weights
not
and stuff.
potentially killing yourself.
Yeah. It's I had to do it. I had like 4 hours a day,
Although
on and on.
I did read about a British guy recently who he weighed like 400 pounds and he stopped eating for 368 days. Just drank water, lived off his own body fat, lost like 280 pounds.
That can't be healthy though.
He survived. It was weird. Yeah.
But the body is an amazing thing, man.
I'm
It is
sure
an
if
amazing
anybody else did that, they would have died.
Well,
But
it's funny because in some respects it is so fragile, but in other respects
Right.
you could just it's the people that like I shot heroin for 40 years, and drank a gallon of vodka, chased it down with
Oh,
bird.
wait, are you Keith Richards?
Yes, and then I gave it up and I'm fine.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, it's the fact that I was talking to my folks. Most people who smoke.
Yeah.
And continue to smoke, they don't get lung cancer. It's the people that stop the two.
My dad smoked for like 20, 25 years and never got sick when I was growing up. Never got sick. The second he quit, he was sick eight months out of the year.
Yeah.
Like colds constantly, sinus infections constantly, like always, constantly. And he was always like, I need to go back to smoking.
So what we're telling you, folks, light them smokes.
If you have a vice, stick with it till you
Yeah.
die.
It'll keep you happy. Anywho.
Because eventually it probably will kill you.
Yeah, well, everything's going to kill you. Yeah. Everything. I look forward to our McNerdy month next month.
It's good. I'm just deep in the scripts right now, so like it's all up in my brain.
Well, I'm really looking forward to watching. I haven't seen any of those movies for years. At least Can't Buy Me Love. I've seen that several times.
It was definitely the biggest of the three, to the point where even Run, I couldn't. It wasn't streaming anywhere. It's not released on DVD. I had to buy a DVD from South Korea.
Oh my God!
Because it's not available anywhere.
Brush up on my Korean.
I'm hoping that it's not like burned in subtitles. I have no idea, but
we'll find out.
I need to actually pop it in and take a look before we do it. But anyway,
well, I'm really excited. But again, just last words. If you haven't seen any of the Steve's Hot Carl and also, that includes The Jerk, which we covered earlier in our careers. Those 4 movies are definitely staples for your collection, for your comedy collection.
They're so good. So good.
You're not going to be sad watching them moves.
No, they're very joyous and very good.
All right, look, we got to get to this. Speaking of sad, let's get to TV.
Yeah, what have you been watching, Jim?
God damn it. So apparently, when you turn a certain age, you're legally required to start watching certain programs. I haven't gotten to the age because I was talking to my brother-in-law. He, at his age, I think it's the FBI programs on CBS and NCIS. NCIS is kind of the pinnacle of the old white guy shows.
Yeah, the Navy one, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
They're
not JAG. JAG and NCIS are kind of the same show.
I think they're the offshoots of. Anyway, I'm not.
I don't think so, but. Anyway, regardless.
Yes.
I think one came after the other because one was very popular.
With older gentlemen.
Yes.
So I'm not there yet. But when I hit my birthday, I was issued the DVDs of Yellowstone by the government.
Did they actually give you DVDs?
No.
Oh, my God. Oh, God. Sorry.
No. Okay, what happens is when I go visit my folks, they're in their 80s, and we hang around a lot, and my sister and her husband, they get tired, and when they go back to their hotel, we watch movies or TV, and it's the best. We watch some really great movies. We watch Tombstone, love that movie.
Nice, so good. I haven't seen that in forever.
Hell's coming, I'm here. Tell him hell's coming, buddy.
So good. It's so over the top and so ridiculous.
I'll be a huckleberry. Such a good movie. Watch Sorry Wrong Number with Barbara Stanwyck.
Yeah.
Great. Love the ending of that movie.
Yeah.
It's the greatest use of the title of a movie ever.
Nice.
Because it bookends
with
Sorry, Wrong Number.
Nice.
But it's not the same person. Spoiler alert for a 500-year-old movie. We watched that, and and a movie that we spoke about on the show as a tribute to Gene Hackman, we watched Bite the Bullet.
Yeah.
Which is a movie that I hadn't seen before with Gene Hackman and Coburn and not Ingrid Bergman.
Candice Bergen.
Candice Bergen.
Yeah.
Bergen.
Candice Bergen.
Yeah, it's because her father was.
That's why I keep thinking Bergman, and then it's not. It's Bergen.
Her dad was one of the greatest ventriloquists ever.
Dandy Bergen. What was his name?
It was
Dickie Bergen?
Edgar Bergen. And Charlie McCarthy was one of his.
I didn't realize that was her father.
Yeah.
Okay.
Strange.
Was she just a puppet?
Yes. But it was a really fun movie. It was a Western around the turn of the century, early 1900s.
Yeah.
And it was this endurance race, a 700-mile horse race.
Yeah.
It was sponsored by this newspaper, and all this stuff happens, and Gene Hackman's really great. If you like animals, do not watch this movie because there's quite a bit of horse death.
Oh, no.
And very sad horse death and stuff.
No, that's not good.
But still a great movie.
Yeah.
Man, what happened to him was horrible.
Oh, my God.
Horrible.
Yeah. No, awful.
But it was great.
Not the way to go.
No. But it was great to see him. And then, okay, so I think the last time and the time before, they were in the midst of watching The Crown.
Right.
So I started watching The Crown and got into that and watched The Crown.
Great show. Crown's
great show.
I need to finish it. I haven't. At some point, Phoebe and I are going to watch it.
So they're like, "Hey, you want to watch Yellowstone?" And for the first time ever, I was kind of like, "Okay," because I was getting into the Western mood. I'm a fan of Kevin Costner.
Sure.
I really enjoyed that Horizon, that first part of that Western.
Horizon Saga, whatever.
Sure,
American
sure.
Saga, whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it, and I enjoy him. I tease him a lot.
He's,
and,
Kevin Costner's great.
but I think he's a very talented dude. So we watched the pilot to Yellowstone, and
And they've seen this before.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
well they
they
love
love- yeah.
all of those shows. I think
yeah.
Paul's favorite is 1923.
Okay.
Which I'm more intrigued to watch that now.
Right.
I was intrigued because of Helen Mirren and Harrison Ford, of course,
Right,
but
right.
with knowing the ranch and the
Right,
history or whatever. Okay, so I got to be honest with you. The pilot of Yellowstone was really good.
Of course.
Like, they crammed so much story into the hour and a half,
Yeah.
And so many moving parts. But they got it going, and they hooked me. So I got in, man. And then I realized about 3 episodes in that this is just a full-on effing soap opera.
It is. It really is.
It is Dallas. And I loved Dallas as a kid,
Yeah.
So it is so perfectly engineered to keep you watching with the kind of cliffhanger. And so much happens to this family, man. Montana is like Australia.
Yeah.
With how it's trying to kill you,
Right, of course.
Wolves, grizzly bears, snakes. Everybody's trying to kill you. Cattle rustlers.
Right.
Yeah, your prostate.
Do you consider yourself to be hate watching it, or are you just really, you just love it?
That is a really good question, Adam. It's somewhere in the middle. I'm not hate watching it because I'm enjoying. Okay, I figured it out. Right? Because a lot of soul searching has been going on with me watching Yellowstone.
As it should be.
I wasn't prepared for this part of my life. For me to be watching Yellowstone, to be a Taylor Sheridan in the midst of all of that. But I think I figured it out. For men of a certain age in our Gen X generation, our dads and stepdads worshipped John Wayne and Westerns. And we grew up watching Westerns, and our old men wanted to be, my old man, hunter, fisherman, outdoorsy kind of guy. He thought that's what he was,
It was the epitome of masculinity.
Faux masculinity, right?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, it was like alpha masculinity.
Yeah.
It was full on, like 100%.
Sure, walk it off.
Masculine man.
Are you crying? I'll give you something to cry about. Now get up here and shoot this thing and drink its blood. Kill this fish. Kill it. But our fathers and father figures that was their wish fulfillment. This is wish fulfillment.
Sure.
For our dads. Owning a ranch. You got all your kin running the ranch, and you got to protect it with your life.
Yeah.
It ain't a way of life, Adam. It's a way of living.
There's still a lot of people that feel that way. Yeah.
But I think because of that, it really fits into the psyche of guys my age. Because Kevin Costner is very much like our dads. He's got that kind of... What I do like about the show, and what's really smart about it, and there is a lot of smart writing to it. It's not just dumb, frothy soap. There is that, there's it's like any nighttime soap,
I'm glad it starts that way.
Sure. But the characters are more complicated, right?
Sure.
So Kevin Costner, he's been through all this crap, and, everybody has shades of gray, right? But he's got this grandson. So his estranged son married a Native American woman, and they're living on the reservation with their kid. His interactions with his grandson are what humanize him. It's what makes his character really interesting.
Okay.
And especially juxtaposed to how he treats his kids and how his kids treat him.
Right.
And, it's very good in terms of dealing with the consequences of abuse and the consequences of mental abuse. And these kids all have their issues because of what they went through.
Right.
And a lot of it is horrible stuff. So I think it's the perfect mixture. Now I understand why guys my age like it, because it is totally the wish fulfillment of our dads. And it just has this, it's got this tough enough, cowboys riding, roping to keep you feeling, okay, I can watch this because it's tough. so then you can really enjoy all the frothy, soapy underneath
Right. Of
stuff.
course.
It's perfectly engineered to keep you going. Right. And so to answer your question with a super long-winded answer, I'm enjoying it. I kind of hate myself for enjoying it. I'm going to say it's good so far. I'm like 2 seasons in, and it's good. Like as a show, I think it's good. I think it's well written and well paced. I have concerns of the future, where it's going to go.
Yes, as it should.
I'm hoping it is canceled, because then I could just be done with it.
Right.
And then it's a self-contained thing, and I can walk my shame away, and then graduate, I guess, to NCIS or I don't know, Fox News. I don't know what's next. It's all scary.
God, please don't.
But I gotta say, I'm going to give it a rec. I'm going to give it a recommendation.
I think you hit the nail on the head. I think that it is a wish fulfillment, and I think there's I think most of the people that still watch that show feel that way.
But that's also one of the things of that show that I find really interesting, is because of the big kind of conflict is them wanting to develop Montana, and especially this part of Montana, and him wanting to hold on to the land and keep it pristine. Mostly keep it for himself. But, every season somebody's encroaching.
Right.
Yeah, they brought in, what's his name? Chris McDonough. He plays the bad guy on he's got those ice white eyes and the white hair. He was in Band of Brothers.
Oh, yeah.
And he was in Justified as the bad guy, but they always bring in his smiling face.
It's not Chris, but it's
something McDonough.
Yeah.
He's an interesting cat because he's very religious, and he won't kiss any woman.
Neil McDonough.
Neil McDonough.
Yeah.
He won't kiss any woman on screen, but he sure will be the most violent MFer on the planet, which I find is a little weird. Great actor, very good at playing heavy. But the interesting thing is the rich people coming in for that wish fulfillment. Them coming in and being like, because they all want to be ranchers. They all want to have that cowboy camping on the range, and getting your cows all roped and getting them doggies put away.
I've literally stopped paying attention. I just don't care.
But that's what's interesting too. That's the thing that I thought it was just going to be the kind of stupid, rah America kind of thing, but it's really not. It's really not. It's very much more Shakespearean, I would think. It's very much more Shakespearean, I would say, than some sort of Chuck Norris type of, Texas Ranger.
It's funny that you're talking about this, masculinity. Like, it has enough of that gung ho masculinity that you can then deal with the frothy, like, soap opera aspect of it.
Yeah.
And you know what else does that? Professional wrestling.
Sure.
Which is why they're both dumb.
Well, okay. I just don't think that it is. I wouldn't say it's a dumb show.
Okay.
To be fair.
I should say that's why that does not appeal to me at all.
Sure, I get it. But like I said, I grew up watching Westerns, and there is definitely a part of me that would love to have a little strip of land and a horse.
Sure.
And be able to ride out, camp with my dog and my horse.
Right.
There's a...
So this show is perfect for you.
I'm just saying there's a romanticism to it that appeals to me. And I'm enjoying it. Like I said, I think it's going to probably, like most soap operas of this ilk, it's going to turn
in a
direction.
Gung-ho masculinity is going to wither down, and the frothy soap opera is going to get real big real fast.
But there's been some moments that are shocked me and surprised me, and it's hooked me. It is definitely a great... I will say this about Taylor Sheridan. He knows how to write to get people to watch.
Of course.
The guy is a talented dude.
Yeah, he's very talented. He's a lot of his movies I really like.
Well, I will keep you all updated. I'll let you know how...
If you end up watching Landman, I'm leaving.
I don't have an interest in that, but I do have an interest in 1923 because of Harrison Ford and Harold Murray.
I watched the first couple episodes of that.
And knowing... the family now, I'm more inclined to know where they come from. And I might even watch 1880. I might even go back and see where it started. Because that
would be interesting, because I like that time period.
I'm a huge fan of Westerns. And and I always will be, and cowboys, and I'm not ashamed of that, but I just never thought.
I think that it might be because it is set in the modern times. Like, maybe that's the biggest turnoff for me.
Yeah.
Like, I think the historical aspect of it is more interesting to me than the modern soap opera crap.
Anyway, I think we've talked enough about probably for the rest of my life.
Oh, my God.
Starting to get hives. But let me know if you watch that. I'm curious, man. Well, you have carte blanche to tease me and ridicule me as much as you want for my...
Oh, no. I'm definitely not done teasing you about watching Yellowstone.
Well, look, it is a gateway show. I'm hoping it's not going to pull me...
Yeah, it leads to things like Landman.
or NCIS. Or, I don't know. If I start watching golf, that's it. I'm done.
I mean, but I get it. I totally get it. The reason I asked about hate watching was because there are certain soap operas that masquerade as being other things.
Yes.
That I have hate watched.
Yes.
Started not hate watching, but then eventually did, like True Blood.
Sure.
100% by the 4th season. I hated that show so much, but I had to watch it because the cliffhangers were so good.
Oh, yeah. Same.
Yeah.
Same. Look, there there times where I'm watching it going, come on, man, seriously?
Yeah.
They're just...
So you're still grounded in reality somewhat.
But yeah, let's move on before I just... this becomes the Yellowstone fan podcast.
Well, you could be watching rather than that is Severance.
Yes, I know.
Which ended, the season ended, and it's so good.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's not as good as Yellowstone, but
Okay.
but it was done very well.
It's going to be a horrible year.
Yep.
No,
Go ahead.
I'm very excited to watch Severance. I think what has stopped me from watching Severance is I feel like I need to watch the first season again, and I'm not super excited about that. So I think what I might do is just not do that, watch the recap, and then do the season, and then if I feel like it, watch the first season again afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably fine. I know after watching the second season, I definitely want to watch the first season again.
Right.
But also, I would highly recommend, it's blown up kind of like Lost did in its second season, or, well, really about halfway through the first season, and people are just freaking out about it, and which is great, because people are watching it, and it's coming back for another season, but, like... it's setting up, the fans have set up their own expectations, and the show does not meet that. I mean, it's impossible.
It never does.
Yeah.
That's the problem with these shows like Lost or this, is the fandom gets so rabid and so into. I mean, you knew because you used to write blogs for Lost, that it becomes an obsession.
Yeah.
And to the point where if your theories or whatever are true, then you get super pissed.
Well, it was really interesting because in Lost, it wasn't until the 5th season when people were like, okay, what the hell?
Right.
And everything, there was some grumblings and whatever, but with Severance, it literally went from people discovering the show at the beginning of the second season to by the end of it, arguing about how everybody else that doesn't believe what they believe is stupid. And it's like, it took less than 3 months.
Sure.
Whereas with Lost, and granted, I mean, I realized this was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
But it took 4 years, and this is just to the point where, like, if somebody's like, well, I didn't like the finale, it should have gone this way, and then everyone else is like, well, you're an effing idiot, and it's like, okay, man, calm down.
I think part of the problem is fandom wasn't as toxic back when Lost was going.
No.
And the internet wasn't as prolific in terms of...
Yeah.
It was just kind of starting with the blogs and the... Yeah.
Much more segmented and like...
Exactly.
Yeah.
And people weren't as tribal, I suppose, as they are now. I mean, everything either boils down to politics or some sort of dumb ideology that it's filtered through that makes you mad. And so many people are mad and they filter that through the things that they love. And to me, that just seems so counterproductive.
It doesn't make any sense to me to... Number one, the show's not done.
Yeah.
Like, even before the second season was done. Like, it doesn't make sense to me to be like, well, I thought it was going to go this way, and then it didn't, so I don't like it.
Well, that's dumb. And it's also, I used to love the conversations we would have about Lost, where people would throw out their theories,
Yeah,
and we discussed the theories and be like, I don't know. It wasn't like, no, your theory's stupid. It was like, oh, that's kind of cool, but what about this? Instead of just this, my way or the highway kind of BS. It used to be more of a people loving a show, discussing a show, or whether it's, whatever it is, Dungeons and Dragons, whatever, like people who love it discussing it. Now it just seems like it's harder to have a discussion that doesn't devolve into some sort of pointless argument.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. But anyway, Severance season 2 is really good. Highly recommend it. It's very fun.
I got to get through it. It's getting really hard to avoid spoilers.
Yeah.
The clickbait articles it's getting to the point where if I see a picture of a cast member or something, I'll go real fast so I can't read the headline.
We both watched Invincible. Invincible ended.
Yeah.
It's funny because I'm a little afraid that the show is getting a little bogged down with too many plot lines, and like the ending just wasn't as satisfying as I wanted it to be. I mean, granted, I realize I just said that was stupid, but like, it just got to the point where it's like, where did the dad go?
Yeah,
they set all this stuff up, and then it was. And granted, I think the next season is going to come much sooner,
right?
Than the way it did before.
Yeah.
So I mean, hopefully, maybe they've already have plans for that, but it just the little tag at the end. It added a whole other layer that I was like, do we need another layer?
Yeah, I enjoyed this season. I really enjoyed this show.
Yeah.
I do think it was probably the bleakest season.
Which is hard to say.
Exactly.
That show was bleak as hell.
I mean, it was relentlessly...
Oh, my God. Those last couple episodes were just brutal.
Well, it went from a group of indestructible enemies destroying the world to the... most destructive enemy destroying the world.
Right. And it was just no let up.
When the Viltrumite, what's his name? Conquest,
yeah.
When Conquest was using Invincible as a battering ram to smash through children and people, and they were just becoming mist. I was like, okay, I think I've seen enough children explode.
So much. So messed up.
But I will have to say there was a lot of growth with the character, especially Adam Eve. Like her character arc in this was really good. They totally couldn't have telegraphed Rex Plode's demise.
Oh, no. It was brilliant, though. I thought it was done really well.
But they did play on that theme. And that's the thing I do enjoy about the show is they do hit the cliches, but they play upon those themes in a way that makes them more entertaining and less cliched. Right. Because you're always going to have cliches in comic books.
Yeah, it's hard not to.
It's a soap opera with capes, let's be honest. But yeah, I think I'm curious to see what they do with the next episode. But you're right. I think there was, instead of kind of a main thrust, it just seemed like it was trial after trial after trial for Invincible.
Yeah, and I just don't understand what happened with the Seth Rogen character and the dad.
Such an interesting subplot.
Yeah, and it just kind of went away. Yeah. And it's like, okay. And again, I'm not going to judge it until, I see more. But I mean, if there's a whole other season and they're not in it, then it's going to be like, well, okay, what's the point of this?
Well, they're going to have to, because what Conquest said, well, your father's dead. I watched him get executed.
Yeah.
And it's probably lying.
That doesn't make any sense.
But,
that's the least dramatic thing, least dramatic way to get rid of a character in a comic book ever.
But so much. It was so I forget how violent the show is.
Oh, my God.
Gory. Not that I'm complaining.
Crazy messed up. It was good, though. It was really good. I really enjoy it.
If you're not watching Invincible and you're a fan of comic books, it's a very, very well done show.
Yeah.
I prefer it to The Walking Dead in terms of...
Definitely much better written than The Walking
Kirkman.
Dead. Yeah. What about movies?
So we're going to do something a little different for movies this month. We both watched a movie. It's an older movie. It came out in 2023. Mm-hmm. It's on Hulu right now. I ended up watching it first. It's a movie called Boy Kills World.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed it. And I asked Adam to watch it before the show, and I figured it'd be kind of fun if we just kind of discussed one movie.
Yeah.
In, Siskel and Ebert style, maybe.
Yeah.
Rather than just going through and telling what we watched. So I'll start because I enjoyed it. What I liked about the movie, I really enjoyed the Skarsgård kid from It.
Yeah.
I thought he was really good. And what an amazing physical performance.
Oh, yeah.
The kid is so disciplined. And it's a revenge tale told in a kind of a cyberpunk dystopian future. And what I really enjoyed about it was there was a lot of clever things that I thought kind of differentiated it from different revenge movies. I like the trope he doesn't have a voice and he's deaf. So the voice that he remembers from a video game becomes his inner voice, which is H. John Benjamin from Bob's Burgers and such. Yeah. And, he's always a welcome treat. And it set itself up as in my opinion, it set itself up as kind of a de rigueur revenge, plot line. And there was a lot of zags where it should have zigged, and the ultimate reveal and what ultimately happens, I found very clever, and I enjoyed a lot because it was something that was unexpected and different for me. Now, your take is a bit different, I believe.
Yeah, for a long time I couldn't decide whether I just really disliked this movie or if I hated this movie, and I'm pretty sure I hate this movie.
Okay.
I feel that it is horribly derivative. I feel like they set it up really well and didn't do anything with it.
Right.
I feel like the ending negates the entire movie.
Okay.
And is morally reprehensible of the ending of what they do to that character. I found it to be so horribly derivative. Oh my God. Like, there were entire action sequences taken from other movies.
Okay. Like which ones?
Like The Matrix. There are literally shots that they did exactly the same. The whole with Trinity and Neo coming down with the guns in the bank or what, the lobby. Mm-hmm. Like, there are literally shot for shot in Boy Kill's world of that sequence.
Oh, wow.
Shot for shot. And I understand, maybe it's an homage, but the first thing Phoebe said was this feels like a video game, and I was like, yeah, I would have liked this more if it was a video game.
Yeah, I can see that. I can definitely see that.
I liked the setup of the dystopia, and that it was obviously California, and there's something happened, and we don't really know what, and that's interesting. But then they never really did anything with it.
Right.
It just turned into this revenge thing that kind of worked and kind of didn't.
It worked for me. I think the way that it set it up as this kind of revenge plot, and the fact that from the beginning we set up the main character as an unreliable narrator because of his hallucinations and the things that he's gone through, that while we're watching this, we're not quite sure what's real and what's not, in my opinion. And then once we get to the reveal of I don't want to spoil stuff, but I also feel like if
I think we have to talk about it.
We have to kind of spoil it. When it got to the point where we realized that he was a tool for revenge rather than the person who was seeking revenge, that to me was really interesting because I hadn't really seen that before. Old boy, we had seen torturing the guy by, with his daughter and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the closest to it. But I don't remember seeing somebody completely changed, like Manchurian Candidate style, to become the ultimate tool of revenge for this guy. And there was a gray area, to who was right and who was wrong. But ultimately, I still think that the guy who trained him for revenge was right. Like what he was doing,
he was
righteous.
I totally agree.
And that's what makes it so sad to me for the kid, because he was just a tool. He was created to enact justifiable revenge on this horrible family.
Right.
And I found that to be, for whatever reason, whatever mood I was in watching the movie, I really enjoyed that twist. And I thought it made the film, to me, a cut above most revenge films because it added a different layer that I hadn't seen before. And I think that it earned it.
Right, and I don't disagree with that. It's just the fact that literally what happened after that negated all of that.
The fight?
By having him fight the guy because then it means that he's fighting for his awful mother, his awful parents, the people that murdered everybody else, the bad guys, he's fighting for them.
The way I saw it was he was fighting for his sister. That his sister, who was he thought his sister was dead. His sister was basically the guiding light of his revenge. She was the beacon. She was the imaginary friend that he had that kept him from being a complete psycho. She was the tiny little bit of conscience that he had.
Sure.
And so when he finds out that she's alive, I don't think that he was trying to protect his mother. I think he was trying to protect his sister.
Right, and the whole twist of who she was so telegraphed.
That was dumb. No, I'm 100% in agreement with that. That I knew. As soon as I saw her, I was like, okay, she's the sister.
Yeah.
That I will give you without any hesitation.
But I don't like... It didn't make sense to me to have an oppressed person who, yes, I understand that he set up this whole thing to try to get revenge because the bad guy killed his family, but to have him then turn out to be the ultimate bad guy feels like a disservice to the entire movie.
Oh, I understand, but I didn't see him as the ultimate bad guy. I see him as a man who lost his mind for revenge. I see him as what ultimately the kid would be if he got through his revenge. He is so consumed with this single purpose that it has gotten rid of his humanity.
Sure.
To me, So what I find so interesting is because I agree with everything that you're saying, but it's fun to me when especially us, because you and I have very similar tastes, and it's rare when we disagree about something. But the thing that I that kind of gets me even more with this movie is how a different visceral response we each got from it.
Right.
And you're not wrong.
I don't. I think that the ending was such bad writing. I feel like they couldn't figure out another way to make it work.
Oh, I disagree.
And it's just bad writing.
I disagree. But I see your point. The realization that the kid had once it all kind of came together, he lost his mind. I mean, again, I think Skarsgård did such a really incredible job as this kid.
Yeah.
Not just the physical fighting aspect of it, but what this kid had gone through: kidnapped, tongue cut out, ears, drugged and manipulated and brainwashed. It's ends justifies the means. I thought it was, I don't know. I would love to hear what you guys think. If anybody have seen it, it's definitely I would say it's definitely worth seeing.
Yeah.
Because my philosophy is if you really hate something, then it has affected you, and it's done its job as a piece of art.
Right.
Art is supposed to give you a visceral response. If you're lukewarm or if you think it's whatever, then that's a failure.
Right.
But loving and hating,
No, I don't disagree. I mean, I think it's definitely worth a watch.
Yeah.
I just wish that the movie was better.
Sure.
I mean, that's really when I really hate a movie is when it's like, God damn it, I could see such a good movie in there.
Yeah.
And they just fumbled it.
Yeah, I guess we saw it in different moods and we saw it in different ways, and that's totally fine.
I really wanted to see more of that world. Like, it was interesting the way it was set up. The art design was really good.
Yeah.
Like, the production design was really good. I'm sure they probably did not spend a ton of money on this movie.
No.
And it was interesting enough that I wanted it be better.
It had a very Cyberpunk 2077 look to it.
Yeah.
The buildings and everything, the colors.
Yeah.
The helmet with the,
right.
the scrolling words.
Scrolling words, yeah.
Those things were interesting. Yeah, the world building was really cool. I think if it had an extra maybe $20 million, another pass at the script, it would have been a great movie. But in terms of a B action revenge thriller, I think it zags when others zig, and maybe it wasn't earned in terms of, your opinion. But like we said, let's hear what you have to say.
It was just so... Anyway, yes. Email us at genxfilespodcast@gmail.com or comment underneath this video, and we'll chat.
Boy Kills World. It's, I think, available on Hulu.
It should be on Hulu right now. It came out in 2023. Did the only credit name that I recognize is Sam Raimi.
Yeah.
I think it was his production company. But otherwise, I do not know anybody else that was involved with the making of this movie.
That's got a decent cast. The
cast is good.
The girl that plays his sister, she was the lead in Happy Death Day and Happy Death Day 2. Is that
Michelle Dockery?
I think so.
Okay. And Brett Gelman. God, Brett Gelman was so good in it.
He's always good as playing a sleazebag.
So sleazy and great.
But that's another thing. I really liked his character because he was so bored and so just disconnected from everything that any sort of change or difference or excitement, he was like, let's see what happens.
Yeah.
You know? Because that's what happens with these that's the thing that I kind of enjoy too is, like, what has happened when you're the elite in this dystopian world and everything is just geared towards you? There's got to be this ennui or boredom that happens, and it just seemed like he was a good example of, like, well, let's just get worse. Let's just see how disgusting things can get. Why not?
Right. You know, a really good example of that, Zardoz.
Yeah, definitely.
Which is a much better movie.
Yes, this would be a pretty good double feature with Zardoz.
Anyway, check it out, Hulu. Curious to see what you think. There was a good movie in there somewhere, and I wanted it to be so much better. I really wanted to like this movie.
I feel badly because I recommended it to you, thinking that you would like it. Well, I always,
but I'm in the same camp as you. Like, regardless if I like or hate something, or if I love or hate something, like, I just want to, I want to have a reaction. If I watch Sweet Home Alabama, I'm going to go, I don't care.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. That has zero effect on me.
Well, I was just hoping you'd watch it, by yourself, so you wouldn't infect Phoebe with the bad movie.
No, it's fine. I mean, the action sequences were done well. Like, it was, all the pieces were good. It just added up to not the whole that I wanted.
You liked it enough that you wished it were better.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I should say I hated it enough that I wished it was better.
Half full, half empty. We'll see what happens.
Anyway, all right. What about games? Let's talk about games.
Well, again, we're trying a little something different this month. Yeah. Instead of going through whatever we're playing, we're going to talk about second playthroughs.
Yeah.
Because both of us right now, you just finished a second playthrough of...
I did. Everything. God, I played through Horizon Zero Dawn, plus its DLC, which I never played the first time. And I actually played through Forbidden West and its DLC.
And you had started... Forbidden West wasn't technically a second playthrough, but you had started it and restarted.
I played about probably 30 or 40 hours of it. Yeah.
And I'm doing a second playthrough right now of Cyberpunk 2077.
Nice.
I really enjoy second playthroughs, especially of RPGs or games of this ilk.
Yeah.
Because as constant listeners know, the only FOMO that I suffer from is the fear of missing out on RPGs. I missed some gear, or I missed this quest, or I did the wrong choice and I missed all these things.
Look, somebody did voiceover for this, and they need to be heard.
And Cyberpunk has a lot of missable content and a lot of, you can lock yourself out with bad choices. Not bad choices, but different choices.
Yeah.
And what I'm realizing with second playthroughs of the games that I love the most, whether it's Red Dead or this, RPGs especially, is I'm more relaxed and I can really immerse myself more. This playthrough of Cyberpunk is so much more immersive than the last one because I'm not going online as much being like, oh, what should I do?
Yeah,
what choices?
Right.
I know some of the choices that I've made, so I'm making the different choices. Mm-hmm. But also I'm making choices that my character would make,
Right.
Trying to get into, the more I roll, because I've never really, role played, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm kind of getting into that aspect of it, because it's a more immersive way to play. So with this playthrough, I'm not even using hacking.
Oh, really?
You have a choice of, where you can go through and cyber hack, or you can use this Sendevistan implant, which you hit both buttons and it slows time
Oh, okay.
for everybody but you. So you
Right.
can just,
Right,
so
right.
it's more of like for blades and stuff. So I'm really enjoying a completely different style of gameplay
Interesting.
than I played before. A different life path, playing as a woman instead of a man this time. So everything is different. And it's also the first time that I've played the game since it's been completely patched and all the everything that has changed.
Right.
The first playthrough I played the main game before they did the complete overhaul.
Right.
And then did the DLC after the overhaul.
Right.
So it was kind of a mishmash.
Yeah.
But now with the DLC integrated and I can jump in and out and it's just an extra part of the story, I've really enjoyed this playthrough so much so that it's now waffling between Red Dead and Cyberpunk as my favorite game. They're both really close. I think Red Dead's always going to edge it out, but I find it fascinating the freedom that you feel going through again.
I agree. That was the thing with Zero Dawn. Like I was able just to focus on the story and not worry about it. And I set it to be like on the easy or story mode or whatever.
Right.
But it was nice to. It was like rereading a book. Like I was able just to go through and just appreciate the dialogue and appreciate, the like you're saying, the immersiveness of the story and getting into it. And for me, it was great because that carried over into Forbidden West, playing it right after and allowing myself to get into that story and not really have to worry about, even though it was still technically a first playthrough, but I wasn't as worried about like the FOMO and finding everything and doing everything. And it's like, and I actually did, it's funny because I did more in the second playthrough or, the first third of Forbidden West. Like I completed more stuff because I was like, oh yeah, okay. Like I can go do this thing and do whatever. But I didn't feel like I had to complete an entire area before moving on to a story and like forgetting what the hell was going on and like, because the story's so huge and long and like, But yeah, it was nice. It felt much more relaxed.
I think you hit the nail on the head with story.
Yeah.
Because I think that's probably why it's more immersive to me is because I'm really following the story.
Right.
I'm enjoying the choices that I make to push the story forward in whatever direction. And again, by making the choices before, now I can truly have my character, be my character, make her choices in terms of how she would make choices within this world, shape the story, and I feel much more engaged in the story than I was the first time where it's like, well, I got to find this pistol and I got to find this thing. And then there's this Easter egg and, it takes you out. It's a game. And like you said with Horizon Zero Dawn or, a lot of the Assassin's Creed RPGs is it becomes kind of a job because you have all these side content.
So much,
that gets overwhelming. The one thing I will say about Cyberpunk is there doesn't seem to be any busy work side.
Right.
Even the gigs or the smaller things or the cyber psycho content, they all have their own lore and story to it.
Right.
That is interesting, like little things you can pick up to conversations between the cyber psycho and somebody else that kind of gives you more of a hint and why they have become the way that they are. So even those little even the side content is immersive if you allow it to be. And I'm treating these, the cyber psycho content or whatever, is like, oh, he's like a detective. She's a detective, or she's doing this, and it adds to the story and keeps me within this character and their experience and their story, rather than okay, I need this because I need money to buy this car to do this thing, and I think the freedom of second playthroughs, for me at least, is I'm realizing it's the second playthrough that I really get the story.
Right. Yeah. I it's funny because normally I'll try to start a game and be like, no, I'm gonna do all the stuff, and then eventually I get to the point where I'm like, okay, I just want the story.
Yeah.
And like, if I'm gonna play the game again, then I'll worry about like all the extra stuff and all that. That's usually how I play. But I haven't done a lot of the big RPGs like you do.
Right.
Like, like Dragon Age and all that stuff. Or Baldur's Gate 3. Like, I haven't done any of those yet, so it's like I don't have as much experience with those. I do definitely play much more story-driven games.
Right.
But that's also kind of me. Like, it's just that's what I enjoy.
Yeah.
I want to be entertained. I don't like to get frustrated, and I don't necessarily want to stop every 20 seconds and look something up and
Right.
be like, okay, like what am I doing? But
Yeah.
it allows you to be more immersed and it's more, to me, more story driven, like entertainment, and I appreciate that.
It's funny you mentioned Baldur's Gate 3. That's the one that I'm really excited for a second playthrough, because I think that's going to be the greatest example of this.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
there's
for sure.
so much choice.
Right.
So much to miss out on. I mean, that for a FOMO RPG guy like me, it's like,
Yeah.
that'll drive you insane.
They did announce for April the PlayStation Plus games.
Yes.
Two of them that I think are relevant. The third one, I don't even remember what it is.
Digimon thing?
Digimon thing, which is definitely not relevant.
But that's like a Pokemon type of rip-off thing,
yeah,
isn't it?
Yeah. And it's some mystery thing. It might actually be interesting. I don't know. But they announced that Digimon mystery thing, and then, which is for the PS4. But then RoboCop, which is for the PS5.
Yeah.
Which technically we have on physical media. It's just when it first came out, it was
Buggy.
pretty janky. I think it's gotten a lot better. And the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game, which is, I always want to say live service.
It's basically like Cops and Robbers. So you have one side playing the family
Right.
that's trying to kill everybody, and then you
people
have
trying to escape.
the victims that are trying to escape and get...
But it's all online.
Yes.
Yeah.
And everybody, there's no NPCs. Everybody is
Right.
playing against each other.
There's so not really like Killing Floor. There was, what was it? There was a couple other.
Well, there was a Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th
It was
was
just
like that,
that.
yeah.
There was a
There's the
Evil Dead.
Yeah, those. Yeah.
that that you're playing against other people. The one thing about this that I'm really intrigued by is the presentation, the graphics. Everything looks so much like the 70s movie.
Yeah.
The house is recreated lovingly.
Yeah. I'm excited to play it for about 8 minutes and then put it away and never play it again.
Same. I want to experience it as
Yeah.
a fan of the movie, and the fact that they did so much work to make it true to the
Right.
source material. I'll definitely check it out. But I'm just not. You and I both aren't online dudes. We're not.
I used to be heavy into the online stuff.
Yeah,
and
same.
Way back in the day, and it's just not my thing anymore.
Yeah, it's hard to play with strangers because they can be jerks.
Yeah.
And I used to play a lot of Destiny for a while, and it's just I like if I'm gonna do an online thing, I'm more of a PvE than a PvP. I'm a player versus environment than player versus player. We have a lot of friends that all they play is Overwatch, or our friend Marty, all he plays is Call of Duty, and I get that it's like that loop.
Sure. Yeah, I used to play a lot of Rainbow Six Vegas.
Yeah.
I just now I like story.
You used to play Halo.
I used to do a lot of that, but I like story now. I want to get immersed in a story.
Exactly. If I'm going to sit down and take the time to play a game, I want a game that's going to envelop me and I can escape in.
Right.
Not something that I'm going to hear children using horrible language. Nothing worse than a 9-year-old calling you the N-word.
Yeah,
but,
or getting murdered constantly and just being like, this is so much fun.
Yeah. But I do want to check it out because it does. The presentation looks
the
really
graphics
cool.
look amazing. I'm excited about it.
And I did play some of the RoboCop game, and I really enjoyed it.
I did too. Yeah.
They did this company. They also did a Terminator game,
which has been on my wish list forever. I'm just waiting for it to get to $10.
But these are just smaller AA 80s games that really capture the feel of the source material. Again, the beautiful recreation of the Detroit police station.
Oh my God, it is so spot on.
Having it's not her voice, I don't think, but having Nancy.
No, I don't think so.
I forget her last name. The partner, his real partner.
Yeah. Shit, I can't think of her name.
Anyway, she's a great actor.
She's good. It's good. She might have actually done the voice. I'll look it up and see. But it looks so good. The art design in it is incredible, like spot on for the movie.
Dead or alive, you're coming with me.
All right, we'll be back next week. Thanks for listening. We're gonna come back with our McNerdy month.
Yeah.
Our tribute to Patrick Dempsey. See if we can get him on the show.
Is starting with Loverboy?
No, we're starting with Can't Buy Me Love.
God, I hate the fact that I don't know the difference between. So we're starting with Can't Buy Me Love?
Can't Buy Me Love was in 87. Loverboy was 89. Run was 91.
Nice.
So, yeah, I'm excited about it.
Watch yourself some Hot Carls.
Yeah,
some
please
Steve's Hot
do.
Carls.
God, watch all those Steve Martin movies. They're so good.
Oh, Melby. I believe that they, for a certain generation, for men of a certain age.
We now return you to your regularly scheduled programming, Charlie's Angels, already in progress.